Metroidvanias are the perfect mix of challenge, mystery, and discovery. That feeling of unlocking a shortcut after hours of struggle never gets old. So if you love getting lost in dark corridors, epic boss fights, and hidden upgrades, here are 12 Metroidvania games you should play at least once in your life. Foregone is one of those games that somehow slipped under the radar. Even though it looks and feels like it was made to impress, imagine a Metroidvania with the fluidity of Dead Cells, but with tighter storytelling and a world drenched in neon tragedy. You play as an arbiter, a super soldier trying to reclaim a fallen city consumed by corruption and chaos. It's all about precision combat, fast movement, and brutal elegance. Every strike feels clean, every dodge razor sharp. The animations are smooth, almost like hand-drawn art in motion, giving every fight that perfect balance between control and chaos. What really makes Foregone shine is how it blends speed and tension. The combat pushes you forward, but exploration constantly tempts you to slow down and uncover more secrets. Each area tells its own small story through ruins, audio logs, and haunting visuals, and every upgrade feels earned. The game never wastes your time, but it also never lets you relax. It's tough, but fair, and the soundtrack keeps your pulse synced with every blade swing. While it doesn't reinvent the Metroidvania formula, Foregone nails what matters most: flow. That rare rhythm where gameplay, art, and atmosphere all click together. It's stylish, satisfying, and short enough to keep you hooked from start to finish. If you've ever wanted a game that rewards skill without drowning you in grind, Foregone deserves a place on your must-play list. There's something strangely captivating about Ghost Song, not because it tries to shock you, but because it quietly pulls you in. From the moment you land on the moon of Lorien, the game makes you feel like an intruder in someone else's forgotten world. Cracked tunnels, alien vegetation, and twisted machines stretch endlessly around you, each corner hiding something worth discovering. You take control of the Dead Suit, an armored explorer who wakes up with little memory, but plenty of determination. No tutorials, no hand-holding, just instinct, movement, and curiosity, guiding you deeper underground. The combat system is clean and deliberate. Your arm cannon heats up as you fire, and when it's hot, your melee attacks hit like a hammer. It creates a natural rhythm. Blast from afar, dive in close, then back away before the next strike. Enemies punish mistakes fast, but victories feel earned, not lucky. Boss battles are a highlight. Massive, aggressive, and beautifully animated, each demanding precision and timing. Visually, Ghost Song stands out with its hand-painted art style. The bioluminescent glow of the caverns and the soft particle effects give everything a living, breathing tone. The soundtrack keeps you focused without overwhelming the moment, mixing quiet tension with ambient energy. What makes this game special for me is how it never wastes your time. Every upgrade, shortcut, or hidden chamber feels meaningful. If you're into games that balance atmosphere with sharp gameplay, Ghost Song is absolutely worth your time. HunterX is one of those Metroidvanias that instantly catches you off guard, not with flashy trailers or big marketing, but with how tight and fast everything feels once you start playing. You take the role of a young demon hunter named Suki, armed with blades, magic, and way too much attitude for her own good. From the first encounter, the game throws you into a stylish mix of combo-based combat, exploration, and boss fights that don't mess around. Every enemy attacks with purpose, and every dodge or parry feels like it matters. The pacing is relentless but rewarding, keeping you hooked as you carve through shadowy halls and twisted realms that blend gothic design with sleek modern touches. What really makes HunterX stand out is its control and movement. It's one of those games where jumping, dashing, and chaining attacks together feels instantly satisfying. You can experiment with different builds, magic types, and weapons, which keeps the combat fresh even deep into the game. The bosses are the highlight, massive, brutal, and designed to test your reaction time more than your patience. Visually, the game blends hand-drawn environments with smooth 2D animations, making every slash and explosion pop off the screen. The soundtrack fits perfectly, pumping just enough adrenaline without ever becoming noise. It's fast, flashy, and surprisingly deep for an indie title. If you enjoy that feeling of mastering precise combat while exploring beautifully eerie worlds, HunterX is one of those hidden gems that deserves way more attention than it gets. Cathedral looks like something straight out of the 8-bit era, but once you start playing, it proves there's way more depth hiding under that retro shell. You control a nameless red-armored knight who wakes up in a massive, handcrafted world that feels both nostalgic and fresh. Every room, corridor, and secret area screams classic Metroidvania design, where progress comes from exploration, not tutorials. It's packed with clever puzzles, deadly traps, and shortcuts that make you appreciate how carefully everything is built. The combat is simple but sharp. Each weapon and upgrade changes how you approach enemies, and timing your jumps or attacks becomes second nature after a few minutes. The bosses are the real stars here. Big, creative, and tough enough to make you rethink your strategy more than once. There's a lot of old school frustration, but it's balanced perfectly with that feeling of triumph when you finally win. What really sets Cathedral apart is how it captures that classic vibe without ever feeling dated. The pixel art bursts with color and personality, and the chiptune soundtrack nails that perfect mix of adventure and mystery. It's the kind of game that instantly reminds you why titles like Metroid and Castlevania still inspire developers today. If you're into tight controls, challenging maps, and that satisfying retro charm, Cathedral is a must-play from start to finish. Few games blend chaos and precision as well as Blade Chimera. The moment you pick up the controller, it hits you with that rare mix of style and speed that just feels right. The game throws you into a futuristic world, torn between technology and ancient demons, where every corridor hides danger and every encounter demands focus. You play as Shin, a skilled warrior bonded with a living sword that grows and mutates with you. It's not just a weapon, it's your companion, your lifeline, and sometimes your biggest problem. The combat is all about rhythm. You chain slashes, dashes, and parries in a way that feels smooth but unforgiving if you lose your timing. It rewards players who stay sharp, punishing hesitation but celebrating precision. The sword can shift forms, letting you break barriers, create platforms, or even stop time during fights, mechanics that keep the gameplay fresh long after the first few hours. The world design is another highlight, built with interconnected zones that constantly push you to explore deeper. The mix of dark fantasy and high-tech ruins gives Blade Chimera a distinct identity, something between Castlevania and Ghost Runner. Every new area feels dangerous but impossible to ignore. The soundtrack drives that tension forward, mixing heavy percussion with eerie electronic tones. If you're into fast combat, skill-based progression, and rich exploration, Blade Chimera delivers exactly what the genre's been missing. Nine Souls doesn't waste time trying to explain itself. It just pulls you in with a world that feels both ancient and futuristic at the same time. Created by Red Candle Games, the studio behind Detention and Devotion, this game trades psychological horror for fast-paced sword combat and deep lore. You play as Yi, a warrior awakened in a fallen cyberpunk kingdom ruled by forgotten gods. The setting mixes Asian mythology with sci-fi machines, creating a visual identity that's completely unique. Combat is tight and deliberate, built around precision and counterattacks. Every strike, parry, and dodge flows together like a dance. But one mistake, and the punishment hits hard. It's not about button mashing, it's about reading your enemy, waiting for the perfect moment, and striking when it counts. That sense of rhythm makes every fight feel alive, and the boss battles push it to the limit. Exploration feels natural, with shortcuts, hidden passages, and upgrades scattered across sprawling 2D environments. The storytelling is subtle but powerful, unfolding through environmental details and encounters rather than long cutscenes. It's the kind of world that constantly hints at something bigger just out of reach. The soundtrack blends traditional instruments with electronic beats, keeping the tension high while giving each area its own mood. Nine Souls proves that Red Candle doesn't need horror to unsettle you. Just a sharp blade and a broken world full of stories waiting to be uncovered. Set in the lush, hand-painted world of Falana, Dust, and Elysian Tale is a 2D Metroidvania that mixes lightning-fast combat with exploration and light RPG systems. You control Dust, a mysterious swordsman who awakens with no memory, guided by the talking blade Ahra and the chatty flying creature Fidget. The game opens with calm forest zones before expanding into massive areas, icy mountains, burning villages, and deep caves, each one packed with secrets, side quests, and hidden treasures. Combat is built around speed and fluidity. Dust can juggle enemies in the air with quick slashes, then unleash devastating whirlwinds that fill the screen with sparks. Enemies attack in groups, and staying in motion is key. Dash, launch, strike, repeat. Every combo you land increases experience and rewards, while leveling up lets you tweak stats like attack, defense, and magic. The difficulty curve feels fair, pushing you to use all your abilities instead of spamming buttons. The map structure follows a classic Metroidvania design. New powers unlock paths in older regions, encouraging constant backtracking. The game runs smoothly, with transitions between combat and exploration that feel seamless. Beyond the visuals, which look like a living animated film, The small towns, vendors, and optional missions give Falana a real sense of life, backed by a fantastic orchestral soundtrack. Dust and Elysian Tale stands out for its balance of action, beauty, and tight gameplay design. Lost Ruins throws you into a dark, dangerous world that feels like a mix of classic Metroidvania exploration and survival horror. You play as a young girl who wakes up in a mysterious underground dungeon with no memory of who she is or how she got there. The only guide she has is a witch named Beatrice, who teaches her how to survive in this grim maze filled with monsters, traps, and corrupted magic. The first thing you notice is how grounded the combat feels. Every attack, spell, and dodge has real weight. Timing matters here. Rushing in gets you punished fast. Weapons come in all forms: daggers, axes, bows, each with its own rhythm and reach. You can also equip elemental spells that interact with the environment, like freezing water to walk across or setting oil puddles on fire. These mechanics make every encounter feel different, forcing you to think on your feet instead of just hacking away. The world itself is harsh but beautifully designed, with pixel art that captures both the eerie atmosphere and the small moments of light that break through the darkness. There's a strong survival element too. Inventory space is limited, resources are scarce, and every healing item feels precious. The game balances challenge and curiosity perfectly. You're always on edge but never frustrated. The bosses are clever, each demanding a new strategy instead of just higher stats. Lost Ruins combines the structure of a Metroidvania with the tension of a dungeon crawler, creating a game that feels dangerous, rewarding, and strangely captivating from start to finish. Blasphemous 2 takes everything that made the first game brutal and strange, then pushes it even further. You once again step into the role of the Penitent One, a silent warrior cursed to wander a world twisted by faith, guilt, and divine punishment. The story picks up after the events of Wounds of Eventide, leading into a new cycle of rebirth. From the opening moments, the game drops you into a maze of cathedrals, crypts, and forgotten cities, each one dripping with unsettling religious imagery and gruesome beauty. Combat is faster and more flexible this time. Instead of one weapon, you now have 3 distinct ones: a heavy flail for crushing blows, twin blades for quick combos, and a giant sword for devastating reach. Each weapon changes how you explore, unlocking new routes and secrets tied to its unique abilities. Bosses remain the highlight, grotesque, symbolic, and animated with insane attention to detail. Every fight feels like a small horror opera, brutal, methodical, and visually unforgettable. The level design is tighter and more vertical, rewarding players who master movement and exploration. Hidden relics, prayers, and upgrades add variety without breaking the pacing. The pixel art is stunning, filled with macabre architecture and eerie religious iconography, while the soundtrack mixes solemn choirs and haunting melodies that make every area feel sacred and cursed at the same time. Blasphemous 2 doesn't just improve the formula, it perfects it, offering a grim, masterfully built experience that's punishing, rewarding, and impossible to look away from. Axiom Verge 2 expands the universe of the original game in a completely new direction. Instead of a dark alien labyrinth, this sequel opens with vast outdoor landscapes, snowy ruins, and ancient machinery buried beneath the earth. You play as Indra, a tech company billionaire who travels to Antarctica searching for her missing daughter, only to find herself pulled into an alternate dimension where science and myth collide. The setup is mysterious but smartly told, giving you just enough story to keep pushing forward without slowing down the pace. The gameplay keeps the classic Metroidvania foundation, but changes how exploration works. There's less focus on linear upgrades and more freedom from the start. You can climb, teleport, and even hack machines and enemies to change how they behave, turning turrets into allies or reprogramming drones to open new paths. The hacking system becomes the heart of the experience, constantly rewarding experimentation. Combat feels lighter and more strategic than before. Indra isn't a soldier. She relies on gadgets, drones, and creative thinking rather than brute force. Each area feels distinct, with secrets hidden in every direction, and exploring them feels genuinely rewarding. The pixel art style remains faithful, but with softer colors and smoother animations, so giving the world a more organic feel. The soundtrack leans into ambient tones, adding to that eerie sense of isolation. Axiom Verge 2 isn't just more of the same. It's a complete reimagining that proves how creative the series can be while keeping its unique identity intact. Grime is one of the most distinctive Metroidvanias in recent years, a surreal mix of dark fantasy, body horror, and precise combat. You play as a living void, a creature made of black stone and energy, brought into existence in a collapsing world made entirely of organic matter. Every enemy, structure, and landscape looks alive, breathing and mutating as you explore. The game doesn't explain much, and that's part of what makes it so captivating. You learn by surviving, piecing together fragments of lore from a world that feels both alien and strangely familiar. Combat is fast, weighty, and deeply satisfying. Instead of blocking, you absorb enemies with your head, a mechanic that instantly kills weaker foes and restores your health if timed perfectly. It's risky and addictive, forcing you to read every attack and respond with precision. The weapon variety keeps the gameplay fresh, with heavy clubs, curved blades, and living tools that shift shape mid-combo. Boss fights are intense, often grotesque, and demand complete focus, each one feeling like a clash between monsters trying to outlast each other. Exploration is seamless, with interconnected regions that twist and fold into one another. Hidden upgrades and shortcuts encourage backtracking, rewarding curiosity without wasting time. The art direction is stunning, a grotesque beauty that blends crumbling anatomy and cosmic design. The soundtrack pulses with ambient tension, amplifying the feeling of being trapped in a living nightmare. Grime is brutal but fair, strange but magnetic, a game that turns every victory into something you can feel in your bones. Afterimage is the kind of game that immediately catches your eye with its hand-drawn art, but it keeps you hooked because of how satisfying it feels to play. Set in the world of Engadin, a land torn apart by forgotten gods and ancient magic, you play as Renee, a wanderer searching for her lost memories while uncovering the truth behind the world's collapse. The story unfolds slowly, through dialogue, ruins, and notes scattered across massive, interconnected zones. Each area has its own identity, from glowing underground cities to haunted forests and frozen towers, and the transitions between them are seamless. The gameplay is tight and fast, with a strong focus on movement and combo-based combat. You can dual-wield weapons, mix melee and magic attacks, and even swap between loadouts mid-fight. Dodging, parrying, and managing stamina becomes second nature, especially during boss fights that demand perfect timing and precision. Enemies hit hard, but every defeat teaches you something new. The upgrade system is generous, letting you customize your build with relics, skills, and stat boosts that genuinely change how you play. What makes Afterimage stand out is how alive its world feels. The environments aren't just beautiful, they're full of vertical layers, shortcuts, and hidden paths that reward curiosity. The music fits perfectly, moving between calm and dramatic without breaking immersion. It's long, challenging, and absolutely packed with secrets, making every new discovery feel earned. Afterimage doesn't just look amazing, it's one of those Metroidvanias that reminds you why exploring every corner is always worth it. 12 incredible Metroidvania games that prove the genre is more alive than ever. Whether you prefer fast combat, deep exploration, or rich atmosphere, there's something here for every kind of player. Each of these worlds has its own rhythm, its own mystery, and once you get lost in them, hours just disappear. But before we wrap up, I can't end this list without giving a quick nod to the two classics that started it all. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, still unmatched in its design and style, the blueprint that shaped everything that came after, and Metroid Fusion, tight, intense, and unforgettable, the game that showed how tension and exploration could work perfectly together. If you haven't played them in years, or somehow missed them completely, now's the best time to jump in. Thanks for watching, and if you love this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments which Metroidvania deserves a spot in the next list.